The human canary, Video 18, the largest healthcare fraud scheme ever. On April the 5th, 2019, a Florida jury found a South Florida healthcare facility owner guilty for his role in the largest healthcare fraud scheme ever charged by the Justice Department, involving over 1.3 billion US dollars in fraudulent claims to Medicare and Medicaid for services that were not provided, were not medically necessary, or were procured through the payment of kickbacks. The trial took 8 weeks. Philip S. Formes orchestrated one of the largest healthcare fraud schemes in the US history, defrauding Medicare and Medicaid to the tune of over $1 billion, said Assistant Attorney General Benczkowski. Vulnerable beneficiaries who, as a result of S. Formes' crimes, were denied the level of care that they both needed and deserved. Philip S. Formes is a man driven by almost unbounded greed, said Assistant Special Agent in Charge Dennis M. Stemman of FBI Miami. The illicit road S. Formes took to satisfy his greediness led to over $800 million in fraudulent healthcare claims, the largest amount ever charged by the Department of Justice. Along that road, S. Formes cycled patients through his facilities in poor condition where they received inadequate or unnecessary treatment, then improperly billed Medicare and Medicaid. Taking his despicable conduct further, he bribed doctors and regulators to advance his criminal conduct and even bribed a college official in exchange for gaining admission for his son to that university. Even beyond the vital dollars lost through, S. Formes exploited and victimized patients by providing inadequate medical care and poor conditions in his nursing homes. Along with law enforcement partners, we will continue the fight against such parasites. According to evidence presented at trial from approximately January 1988 through July 2016, S. Formes led an extensive healthcare fraud conspiracy involving a network of assisted living facilities and skilled nursing facilities that he owned. S. Formes bribed physicians to admit patients into his facilities and then cycled the patients through his facilities, where they often failed to receive appropriate medical services or received medically unnecessary services, which were then billed to Medicare and Medicaid, the evidence showed. Several witnesses testified to the poor conditions in the facilities and the inadequate care patients received, which S. Formes was able to conceal from the authorities by bribing an employee of a Florida state regulator for advance notice of surprise inspections scheduled to take place at his facilities. The evidence further showed that S. Formes used his criminal proceeds to make a series of extravagant purchases, including luxury automobiles and a $360,000 US watch. S. Formes also used criminal proceeds to bribe the basketball coach at the University of Pennsylvania in exchange for his assistance in gaining admission for his son into the university. Altogether, the evidence established that S. Formes personally benefited from the fraud and received in excess of $37 million US dollars. S. Formes' co-conspirator, physician's assistant Arnaldo Camus, previously pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud and is scheduled to be sentenced shortly. S. Formes' co-conspirator Odette Barker also pleaded guilty to one count of conspiring to violate the anti-kickback statute. She was sentenced on April 3rd, 2015, to 15 months in prison. The case was investigated by the FBI and Human Health Services, Office of the Inspector General, working in conjunction with the Medicare Fraud Strike Force. The fraud section leads the Medicare Fraud Strike Force, which is part of a joint initiative between the Department of Justice and Human Health Services to focus their efforts to prevent and deter fraud and enforce current anti-fraud laws around the country. Since its inception in March 2007, the Medicare Fraud Strike Force, which maintains 14 strike forces operating in 23 districts, has charged nearly 4,000 defendants who have collectively billed the Medicare program for more than $14 billion. Please hit the subscribe button if you want to learn more about the myths and corruption surrounding medicine. It's the little image of a Neanderthal on the bottom right of your screen. Also, please indicate whether you like or dislike this video. Thank you.